Good evening, Bahamas. Coming up tonight, the case of the freaky flooding taking place at the Lynden Pinling International Airport earlier today. NAD has issued a statement explaining what happened. Stay close. Plus, Scottish Masons in the Bahamas headed off to Bermuda recently to participate in that island's Peppercorn Festival, March, and ceremony. Good stuff there. And executives at the Sandilands Rehabilitation Center still trying to get rid of the awful stigma attached to those who suffer from mental illnesses. All of that is on the way when Our News Weekend starts now. Welcome to Our News and thanks for joining us. I'm Jamila Mizik, topping news tonight. Some images and video recordings reaching our newsroom of a wet situation at the Lynden Pinling International Airport earlier today. Passengers at the international terminal were forced to walk through inches of water, some with luggage in hand. Meanwhile, water leaked into a room, damaging cardboard boxes and other materials on the ground. But what was the cause of the flooding? The Nassau Airport Development Company seeking to clarify the incident in a statement, saying it was around 10:20 a.m. when a failure in a fire suppression line led to the flooding in the arrivals corridor near Bahamas Immigration. The statement continues that NAD's maintenance and customer experience teams, along with the support of Ministry of Tourism's Guest Services and other airport stakeholders, immediately mobilized to address the issue. At around 12:40 p.m., repairs were made to the damaged line and the system was reinstated and continues to be monitored closely. NAD says that flight operations were not impacted and there have been no delays as a result of the incident, despite the fact that arriving passengers were regrettably inconvenienced during the cleanup efforts. We'll have more on this in a later newscast. Meanwhile, police in the capital kept busy this past week. The public's assistance is being sought in locating suspects responsible for a shooting yesterday, which has caused a 23-year-old man injuries and a stay in hospital. This incident took place today shortly after 2:45. The victim is said to have been standing on the outside of a nightclub situated in the area of Elizabeth Avenue. It was during this time that a physical altercation occurred between some unknown persons. The victim attempted to run away from the scene to safety. However, while doing this, gunshots were fired at the group from people in a burgundy Japanese vehicle. They sped off in an unknown direction. Moments later, the victim realized that he was shot to the upper body. He was taken to the Princess Margaret Hospital via private vehicle, where he is listed in stable condition. Investigations continue into this matter. Now, in other matters, police are aggressively investigating an armed robbery also taking place today. Initial reports revealing that sometime around 11:09 a.m., the victim was sitting in his vehicle at the front of his residence located in the area of Pine Yard Road. While there, he observed a man he knows exit a white, heavily tinted vehicle dressed in a dark clothing and shades. The victim was then approached by this man, who pulled out a firearm and robbed him of cash. After this, the suspect returned to his vehicle and sped off. Investigations also continue into this matter. Now, police are appealing to members of the public who may have any information as it pertains to these incidents or any other matters to contact the Criminal Investigations Department at 502-9991-3 or 919. In other news, the Ministry of Health is in the process of recruiting manpower resources. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Michael Darville revealing as much to reporters this past week, as he says a team traveled to Cuba to search for some of the best healthcare professionals.
Lab technicians, x-ray technicians, physiotherapists, and the list goes on and on. There's a shortage of medical technologists in the Commonwealth of the Bahamas. And we also face a challenge at the Princess Margaret Hospital with some individuals retiring.
Dr. Darville says the situation calls for the activation of a short, medium, and long-term plan.
The short-term plan is, first of all, to bring resources, manpower resources out of the country to help us now. That is actually happening as we speak. Then the medium term is begin to train Bahamians to replace the short-term workforce. And then the long term is the construction of our new tertiary facility and hospital here in the Bahamas, where we will have the construction of a new blood bank, a new diagnostic service, a national morgue, and the list goes on and on. And so we are executing the essential steps. These are age-old problems, and there has been some issues with succession planning. We need to fix that.
And to make matters worse, the health minister says countries from around the world are also recruiting Bahamian healthcare providers, which shows that there is a regional problem.
When it comes to immunization, we have some issues as a result of slipping with immunization. This has come about as a result of the pandemic. We're now coming from behind to catch up. They're recruiting our staff. And so some of our experts in this area have now been recruited, and we have to fill these gaps so that we can protect the life and well-being of the Bahamian people.
Now, as you would have just heard, there has been an issue with immunization in the country, which is why the Ministry of Health, along with PAHO and other international partners, will soon launch an immunization campaign here in the Bahamas. Health and Wellness Minister Dr. Michael Darville explains.
One of the things we did have a problem with is a result of Hurricane Dorian, the migration of people. Immunization requires healthcare professionals to find these children and get them immunized. The reality is kids have moved from one location to the next, and what happened in Abaco with the destruction of all our medical records and so forth has created another problem. We're working with PAHO to digitize the immunization protocols in the Bahamas. That is going extremely well, and we intend now to go to the old-fashioned way, where our nurses go back into the community, door to door, find these kids who are not immunized and have them immunized so that they can fall within the ramifications of the law, because it's clear. To be able to come into our primary schools, you need to show your immunization cards.
However, he says these immunizations should not be mistaken for the newer COVID-19 vaccinations.
We do not want to confuse COVID-19 immunization with our regular immunization protocols, and we need to build a confidence back in the community that these immunization protocols that worked well for all of us need to be focused on very aggressively and begin to get our numbers up to where they used to be in the 90s.
Still to come on Our News Weekend, executives at Sandilands Rehabilitation Center are working hard to change public perception. The stigma must go away. The details up next. And Scottish Masons in the Bahamas fly off to Bermuda to participate in the Peppercorn Festival. So fancy. All of that and more coming up when Our News Weekend returns.
Whether you're battling a chronic condition or offsetting a new injury, Doctors Hospital's comprehensive rehab services offer the help you need now.
Go to doctors.
3 advanced facilities at Collins Avenue, Carmichael Road, in Cable Beach means your personalized plan for care is just a visit away. From physiotherapy to occupational therapy and speech and language pathology, our team approach is all about rebuilding together. For a full list of services, visit doctorshosp.com/rehabilitation. Doctors Hospital, trusted and best care now. Isn't your health worth it?
You're watching Our News. Welcome back. 70 outstanding young men throughout the Bahamas getting an opportunity of a lifetime today as the Alpha Phi Alpha Fraternity Incorporated Iota Epsilon Lambda chapter hosted its 36th annual Honors Day convocation at the University of the Bahamas. The program started back in 1987 with the scholarship awardees receiving only $500. Fast forward to today, that number now stands at $4 million. President of Iota Epsilon Lambda, Kevin Baston.
Honorees, you are at a transition period in your life. Set achievable goals and pursue them. Whatever path you take in life, go into university or directly into the workplace, remain focused and stay grounded in the core values and principles you have been taught. Be the best that you can be. Additionally, we encourage you to help someone along the way through your journey in life.
Dean of Membership for Iota Epsilon Lambda Chapter, Ricardo DeVos, says, today the program strives to applaud high school men in a positive manner.
Over the past 36 years, we have recognized some of the best
and brightest young minds in this country. These young men have inspired our fraternity, regardless of the circumstances, to continue to offer this program as a means of rewarding and encouraging and celebrating excellence among our graduating high school males, and to properly recognize them for the right decisions that they make in terms of their educational journey.
The Sandilands Rehabilitation Center sits on 37 acres of land, and for many years, residents that lived on the compound faced a certain stigma from the community. Well, executives there are working hard to change public perception. Megan Shepard has more.
The Sandilands Rehabilitation Center receiving some much-needed donations of wheelchairs recently as it prepares to host its 12th annual Geriatric Push-a-thon this June 3rd. But as Director of Geriatric Services, Dr. Indira Minus-Grimes notes, the center is still in need of more assistance.
There are other assisted devices for them to ambulate, including walkers, canes, as well as even orthotic shoes to aid with them safely moving around on the ward, around the compound, and to events outside or off the compound. We also require lifts for those who are bedridden to move them in and out of bed safely, as well as bedside care, equipment such as bedside commodes, etc. And all of these things contribute to them being as functional as possible within whatever capacity they can endure it.
Acting Hospital Administrator Sandra Mortimer Russell also giving this update as it relates to upgrades at the center.
It needs much repairs. We are doing a great job in doing the repairs. The funding is available, and we're using a basic approach in addressing those critical areas first and then move on to those not so critical areas. So the repairs and renovations are ongoing because we live here. And so the repairs has to be ongoing to make it comfortable for our clients.
While most people associate the center as a place only for those with mental issues, Mortimer Russell says the establishment offers 4 different services on the 37-acre property.
We have the geriatric hospitals. We have a complement of 384 beds here. 85% of our clients live here. So we have the geriatric hospital. Then we have the adolescent and child division. Then we have general psychiatry. Then we have substance abuse and detoxification center. We have adults section that is with the adolescents. We have adults who have functional capacity might be that of a 3-year-old to a 15-year-old right here. Okay, and like I said, 85% of clients live here.
Reporting for Our News Weekend Edition, I'm Megan Shepard.
Just recently, a high-level contingent of Scottish Masons left the Bahamas with Bermuda as the destination. The reason for the trip? Participating in the annual peppercorn ceremony.
The District Grand Lodge of the Bahamas, represented by Right Worshipful District Grand Master Anthony Bostwick and his deputation, journeyed to Bermuda and participated in the annual Peppercorn Festival. One of the highlights of the trip was when District Grand Master Bostwick, in his Masonic response at the Composite Lodge meeting held the day before the festival, brought to the attention of the brethren assembled the historic significance and relationship of the Bahamas and Bermuda that dates back as far as the late 1640s. He enlightened brethren on the Eleutherian adventurers who left Bermuda to settle on the island of Eleuthera in the Bahamas in 1649. The peppercorn ceremony, only in Bermuda, takes place every April in St. George's King Square. It is said to be one of those events that makes you feel as though you've traveled back in time, with a parade full of officials and dignitaries in formal dress, horse-drawn carriages, military music, a classic town crier bellowing introductions, and of course, a Masonic presence. Right Worshipful District Grand Master Bostwick and his deputation participated in the traditional peppercorn ceremony and then enjoyed fellowshipping with brothers in Bermuda at local eateries before retiring for the evening. Bahamian brothers are also scheduled to be hosted to dinner by Brother Alan Richardson, the Provincial Grand Master of Bermuda, Irish Constitution. For the final activity of the trip, District Grand Master Bostwick is expected to present the Bahamian flag, after which it will be placed in the historic Masonic Temple and in the square.
Thanks, Jean. Just after this break, the Bahamas taking home a big win in Miami, Florida. Stay close for those details. And the Bimini Pilots Organization giving back. We have the details when Our News Weekend returns.
It's your thing. Do what you want to do.
shareholders are very happy.
This is our news. Welcome back. The Bahamas taking home a big win in Miami, Florida this past week at the 15th Annual Caribbean Renewable Energy Forum. Minister of the Environment and Natural Resources Von Miller accepting the Best Caribbean Resilience Award for the work his ministry and the Rocky Mountain Institute has done on schools in Abaco post-Hurricane Dorian.
We are thankful to the Rocky Mountain Institute, which has been a major partner in our transitioning from fossil fuel to renewable energy. With these installations, they're now a partner in our Build Back Better campaign. Our experience has taught us that we must look at development differently. Climate change has placed the imperative upon us to build resilience, and we're responding with the assistance of international partners like the Rocky Mountain Institute and local partners like Rotary Bahamas Disaster Relief.
He says the work done so far is a step in the right direction.
The solar installation with battery backup across these 4 schools will change the life of the community of Abaco forever. It will open up the imagination of the children. It will improve the quality of life for the residents, and it is a clear indication to all of what is indeed possible. It provides hope, and for that, we are indeed very grateful.
In other news, the students at Bimini Primary School were given something to smile about last week after their school received 10 brand new desktop computers with 10 storage drives, a generous donation by an organization with a heart for giving back to their community. Bimini Pilots is an organization operating under Independent Maritime Services based in Grants, Bahamas. Bimini Pilots is licensed and authorized to pilot vessels in the greater Bimini area and more specifically Resorts World Cruise Pier. According to Independent Maritime Services President Captain Justin Wallace, every year his organization commits to giving back to some organization or group. He said these donations are usually done in Freeport because that's where the organization's main base of operation is located. This year, Bimini Pilots connected with Administrator Desiree Ferguson and the former principal at the primary school to get an idea of what were their needs, which they discovered were computers. Thus, the decision to purchase the computers for what will now be the school's computer lab. Wallace also said that the relationship with Bimini Primary will not end there, as a brand new wireless printer and webcams are on the way after he noticed there were none upon making the donation of the computers. Bimini Primary School officials and the island administrator expressing gratitude upon receiving the computers, as they are expected to go a long way in assisting the students with completing their schoolwork. In addition to the donation, Bimini Pilots also facilitated the setup and connection of the computers. Still to come, sunshine is delicious, rain is refreshing, wind braces us up. There is no such thing as bad weather, only different types of good weather. Yes, you got it. The weather report is up next. And this is Paradise Funny. Our Jean Joseph has the details on that in our arts and entertainment segment, which is on the way right after this break. Stay close. Welcome back to our news. Is summer actually here? Well, we do know that temperatures are definitely heating up. Here's the weather report to tell us what to expect over the next few days. right, and a very lucky few people got to see the preview of This Is Paradise, a comedy series created by Bahamian director Kareem Mortimer. Join our Gene Joseph to get the gist of this joke-filled jab at life in paradise.
A chosen few recently saw the debut of This Is Paradise at the Island House Film Festival. The show is a 6-episode comedy set in Eleuthera that follows an unexpected funeral-turned-family reunion that forces two half-sisters to work through tight situations to fulfill their late father's wish for them to run the Paradise Hotel. Show creator Kareem Mortimer says he is excited for the public to see what the team has accomplished and shares insight into how the final product came to life.
So we developed the project. It was me, Julia Chatwin, and Henrietta Edgecombe. And we hired 3 writers, Tim Papsiak, Karel Pinder, and Stephen Hanna. And we, over a few months, we sat in a room and we thought of the craziest stuff we can think of that would be really funny and resonate with an audience, and we developed the scripts. And then we went on to produce the scripts, and we hired a wonderful cast. Julia's in it, Dana DeVoe, Sean Nottage, Christine Wilson, Zaneo Newbold, Tamiko Sawyer, and all these really great people.
Julia Chatwin, who produced the show and co-stars as Keisha, said there were many memorable moments.
It was when Keisha runs naked from the bathroom, you know? It was just very funny to see her running, going, because of the rat, you know, that was great. So I think that was one of my favorite moments.
And Chatwin isn't alone. D. Sean Nottage, who plays shady realtor Bentley Morgan, shared similar sentiments.
I mean, the whole thing was a favorite moment. It was just really enjoyable to be in Governor's Harbor for a month, and, it sort of halfway felt like vacation. Really a great time.
Christine Wilson, who plays hotel manager Viola, says the filming was fast-paced, but the jokes helped them lose track of time.
The most memorable moments was the funny in all of it, because it was funny. We were doing it so fast that we couldn't see it then, but like when we had our downtime and we say our roles and stuff like that, when you're joking back and bantering back and forth. It was hilarious. It was so well written that it didn't show on the screen today. It really was good.
Zaneo Newbold plays the opportunistic Walcott and says, all fun and jokes aside, the series is a springboard for Bahamian talent.
Well, I think we'll be able to accomplish some really amazing things with it. One thing I love about it, it's just full Bahamian, you know what I mean? And that's what we need here in the Bahamas, to show the world how much talent we have here in the Bahamas, because we have so much talent,
Leslie Ellis Tynes shares one of her favorite scenes from the sights and shenanigans.
The chef says something which is just out of the way, because I don't want to give too much away, but he has a little bit of an impediment, if you will, and so it's just really funny what he's doing throughout that episode, because they're all together, and one of the characters, which is played by Zaneo Newbold, he's like swiping his hand away, so it just really stood out for me among many things. That was, of course, just one of several things that I really, really thought was just so funny about the entire production.
Please don't take their word for it. The show will air in international markets and locally soon, so you can watch for yourself and be the judge. Get more information on the show's website, thisisparadiseseries.com, and on social media. Reporting for Our News Weekend, Arts and Entertainment, I'm Gene Joseph.
All right, good stuff there. Well, that's a wrap for us. Thank you for joining us for Our News Weekend. On behalf of our producer and the entire technical team, I'm Jamila Mizik. Enjoy the remainder of your weekend.